In the last session, we have uncovered input statements, buffered class, and then control class, and then the scanner class. We will continue to uncover scanner class, and let's begin with the methods available in scanner class. Let's look at the methods one by one. First one is sc.nextByte, which is used to read byte. Then we have sc.nextShort is used to read short. Then we have sc.nextInt. Then we have sc.nextLong, which is used to read long. Then we have sc.nextFloat, uppercase F float. Then we have sc.nextDouble. Then we have sc.nextBoolean. Then we have sc.next, which is used to read single word. And then we have sc.nextLine, which is used to read multi-word or single line. And note that there is no explicit method to read character data. Also note that there is another method called sc.hasNext. This will return true if next element is present, else it returns false. Let's see some examples so we get more clarity on what these methods are. As we have discussed earlier, we have to use java.util package to use the scanner class. So let's define a string variable called data, and I will write a sentence something like 2 coffees and 3 straight teas cost 40.56 which is, let's say, Boolean true. And let me read using scanner class. Scanner sc is equal to new scanner of data. Try to print each word. System out, print line, and sc.next. The first one is a number, so I'll use nextInt. Then the next one is a word, I'll use sc.next, then I'll use another next for and, then I'll use next int for 3, then I'll use next for t's, next for cost, then I'll use next float or double for 40.56, then I'll use next for dollars, then I'll use next for next Boolean for true. This is just to demonstrate how scanner class works. Let me compile this program, then execute this program, and I've got all the values for this program in the output. Let me paste this output in notes. So now let's try to see what happens if I add another, say, for example, next int. In this case, there is no integer after true, but let's see what error we will face. It's compiled, then run it. So it is able to print all the values until true, and it throws an exception saying no such element when we try to read the number which is not available. We'll paste the error here so that we have it in our notes. So now if we have to go with this approach, we need to keep track of how many words or how many strings or numbers are available and then print accordingly. To avoid this issue, what we can do is we can use a while loop and see sc.hasNext is true, then print that to the console. System out dot println and used sc.next, which is used for both words, strings, and integers. So we are good with that. So let's try to compile and run this program. So we have got those many words that are there. So this while loop is used to just avoid the exception that we have faced in the earlier example. I'll paste the result here. So in the Scanner, we have now tried the scanner string. Now let's explore how to read it from a file. So I have one input text file and I have some strings in this file. So let's read the data from the input file. And this input file will be present in the current working directory where we're executing the code. And below is the content of the input file. So now let's remove this string. We don't need to read it from string this time. We just need to read it from the file, say input 111.txt.txt. For some reason, I saved it this way, but that's fine. And try to compile the code and execute it. I have compiled the code. I executed. So if you see, we just got the name of the file, but not the contents of the file. So we have to fix that. How do we do that? So here we have to use new file of input file name, then we can paste this one, then compile this time. To be able to use the file, I need to import java.io package. Let's compile it again. And execute. And now we got the contents of the file which we have saved. And there is one problem here. If you see in the input file, line number 2, the name is John Doe, John space Doe. But when we executed it, we got in separate lines. So whenever we use next, it is reading it word by word. So to avoid this issue, we can just use next line. So now it will read line by line. Let's compile this one and execute. This time we got John Doe in the same line. So we can use next line instead of next as required. Now let's try to see the third type, which is scanner, sc new scanner, and get the output, get the input from the system.in. And we don't need IO this time. We are not reading it from file. So public static void scanner sc new scanner system.in, and then we will system out something like system.out. print line. Maybe you take some two integer values and add those two values and give the output for the user. Essentially like a calculator. And then it's going to be int a and sc.nextInt. Then we'll get another value, say enter p value, and int p is, and we don't need this while which we used in the earlier program, so we'll reuse the print line, and this time we'll just print a plus b. Save this program and compile, execute. Enter a, maybe 5, then b 6, then the output is 11. Let me save this program and also the output. And this time, let's see a string example. For example, scanner sc new scanner system.in system out print line, enter your name. And instead of int, we take string name, and instead of next int, we'll just take next and remove this and say, maybe we'll say I plus name. Let's compile this and execute. I'll put the name as John. I'll get the response as hi John. Let me try to give my full name like John Doe, and it still gives John. So to avoid this, what we can do is just read next line. Try to save it, compile the code, execute the code, and enter name John Doe, and I'll get the entire name. So you can read the next word or you can read next line using next line method. I will stop here. End of Java session 110. See you in the next.